There are people in our community who each day go about quietly making a difference in the lives they touch. They do this without fanfare or calling attention to themselves. There are people who only care about leaving the path they have traveled a little smoother for those who choose to follow them. Their behind-the-scenes work goes mostly unnoticed, and yes, at times, taken for granted. Today, the scales are somewhat balanced. Today, these unsung heroes get some of the recognition they deserve. District Governor Court, would you stand and help me with presenting these to our honorees? Monica Austin is the owner and operator of Bright Star Child Care Center. Monica is a 1989 graduate of Thomasville High School, Valdosta State College, and Thomas University with a certificate in early childhood education. She believes making a difference in one person's life is living. She is the director and owner of Bright Star Child Care and Learning Center Incorporated, located here in Thomasville. And from an early age, she has had a passion for working with children of all ages. Monica has served children at Bright Star for the past 19 years, and she helps develop them from infancy to 5 years of age. The majority of her students score exceptionally well when they enter the school system. They are prepared with the transition, structure, and socialization skills needed when entering school. Many of her students have continued their educational path by attending college and graduating. Monica's proudest moment is when she saw her first Bright Star graduating class graduate from high school in 2015. She is a member of Lambda Psi Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc. She is the mother of 3 daughters. Monica Austin, a woman of influence and integrity. Eugene Witherspoon, a man who brings passion and dedication, along with patience and loyalty, to his clients. Eugene is the first African American to serve as president of the Thomasville Area Board of Realtors. He also serves as educational chairperson, ensuring that real estate agents are up to date with continuing education required by law. His goal is to continue making sure that the property rights of homeowners are protected and by promoting the realtor's brand. He believes going above and beyond the call of duty. He has been a realtor for 12 years and is a graduate of the Barney Fletcher Realty School. He specializes in first-time home buyers, foreclosures, and short sales. Eugene enjoys spending time traveling with his family whenever possible. He is a member of Kenyon Memorial's Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he participates in his church's community service program that delivers food to the elderly. He is married to Felicia Brown Witherspoon, and they have 4 daughters, Shelby, Jasmine, Jaden, and Ava, and 2 granddaughters, Kaylee and Rose. Eugene Witherspoon, a man of influence and integrity. Buffy Spencer. She is serving her community. She trains youth for service. She hires them in her business. Truly, she is paying it forward. Buffy is a woman who wears many hats, and she wears them very well. Buffy received an associate degree from Thomas University, a bachelor's degree in education from Valdosta State, and a master's degree from Capella University. Buffy attributes who she is today and all that she has achieved to wearing the hat of faithful servant of the Lord. Buffy can be seen wearing her faithful membership hat while worshiping at Centennial Missionary Baptist Church. She is the owner of Receptions for You, a catering and events business. She's a registered radiology technologist and works as program chair at Southern Regional Technical College. She is also a finalist in the state for the Rick Perkins Teacher of Excellence program. Buffy wears her devoted wife hat in her union of 25 years this year to her husband, Cleveland Spencer. She puts on her proud mother hat with her two sons, Devin and Brandon. Buffy also wears the hat of loving daughter, sister, and friend. One of her favorite songs is Serving the Lord Will Pay Off After a While. Buffy Spencer, a woman of influence and integrity. Pastor Corey King Sr. Corey is a graduate of Thomas County Central High School, Darton College, and Thomas University with a Bachelor of Science degree in liberal arts with a concentration in music. An Army veteran, Pastor King received his religious training at Mount Pleasant and at First Missionary Baptist Churches, where he served as first youth minister. He served as the pastor and founder of Restoration Tabernacle Ministries of Thomasville. There he founded Restoring in the Valley, ministering to the physical, spiritual, emotional, and financial health of the Wood Valley housing community. Restoration Tabernacle Ministry sponsors an annual Martin Luther King humanitarian walk of faith and festival, a community-wide event that commemorates Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He oversees Girls Just Want to Have Fun Empowerment, an annual concert comedy program held to encourage bereaved families, personal family tragedies, and veterans. He is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, a community organization that mentors young men and boys. He is married to Geneva Scott King, and they have two sons, Corey Jr. and Mason Blair. A loving pastor, profound teacher, and community leader, Pastor Corey King, a man of influence and integrity. K. Thomas McDonald, a woman of principle and a fighter for justice and truth during turbulent times. Kay has been a proud Team Thomasville employee since 1988. She was hired as the city's first human resources director, and was promoted to assistant city manager in 1999. Prior to returning to Thomasville, she worked with Brooks Brothers and Morgan Stanley while in New York City. In California, she worked with Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. Kay has been involved with many local and state boards that include Archibald Medical Center Executive Board of Directors, Southern Regional Technical College, and Hands on Thomas County. Kay's undergraduate work was done at Northwestern University, followed by graduate work at Florida State University. She is mom to 2 children and 2 Yorkies. Kay loves gardening, photography, NCAA football, and Duke University basketball. Kay Thomas McDonald, a woman of influence and integrity. Dr. Darrell O. Crenshaw, a native of Selma, Alabama, and is board certified in both internal medicine and nephrology. He is a graduate of Tulane University, University of Alabama Medical School, and Emory University. In 2007, a desire to serve the medically underserved brought Dr. Crenshaw to Thomasville. His ability and willingness to make a difference in each person and life he touches is what keeps him here. When Dr. Crenshaw is not practicing medicine, he enjoys serving both his local church and community along with traveling with his family. A visionary, he has worked alongside Pastor Corey King to establish the Martin Luther King Humanitarian Walk of Faith and Festivals. He is married to Dr. Brittany Crenshaw, Dr. Darrell Crenshaw, a man of influence and integrity. Deborah Bryant. Deborah is a native of Thomasville. She was educated here in Thomasville until the 10th grade, when she was chosen to a Better Chance program in Massachusetts. She is a graduate of Abbott Academy, now Phillips Academy. Currently, she is the president of Thomasville and Thomas County Retired Teachers Association and the coordinator of Morehouse School of Medicine Abstinence Program. Deborah taught for more than 30 years, teaching more than 3,500 students. She has been an adjunct professor at Thomas University, Albany State University, and Southern Regional Technical College. She is a board member of the Jack Hatley Black History Museum and a member of the Westside Church of Christ. Deborah Bryant, a woman of influence and integrity. Nathaniel Tyler. Nate, as he is called, is a native of Payville, Georgia. He is a graduate of Thomas County Central High School and Thomas College, where he received a degree in criminal justice. A Marine veteran who served at the American embassies in Rome, Italy, and Montevideo, Uruguay. Nate has been employed with the city of Thomasville for over 40 years. He spent 20 years with the Thomasville Police Department, where he achieved the rank of Major Assistant Chief of Police. He became a solid waste director in 1998, and in 2010, he added the title of landfill director. Nate's organization provides solid waste service to 6 surrounding additional communities and governments. He is married to Gwen Cooper Tyler, and both have adult children. Nathaniel Tyler, our fellow Rotarian, a man of influence and integrity. Nathaniel H. Abrams, Jr. is a pioneer in Thomasville and Thomas County. His legacy of achievements are many, but I'll only list a few. Before full integration of the schools in Thomasville, he graduated from Thomasville High School. He was among a few blacks in the late 60s to attend and graduate from Mercer University in Macon. He was the first black licensed realtor in Thomas County who actually sold real estate. He was also the first African American and the youngest chairman of the Thomasville City School Board. He continues to serve as board member on the Archibald Medical Center Board and the Archibald Hospital Board. A fellow Rotarian and pharmacist by training, in 1999 he started his own business, Abrams Mobile Document Destruction Services. Nathaniel is married to Deborah Abrams, and he is the father of 2 sons, Nathaniel III and Kellen. He is the proud grandfather of Bennett and Christopher Abrams. Nathaniel Abrams, our fellow Rotarian and a man of influence and integrity. Let me welcome to the platform our District Governor, Court Dowers.
You know, though, when Rotary was founded in 1905 by Paul Harris in Chicago, it was a club for white men to gather for fellowship and networking, but quickly evolved to the use of its resources from its members to do good around the world and service their community. Rotary grew across the U.S., and eventually the clubs were started in 1919 and 1920 in the Philippines and other Asian countries. The officers of Rotary recognized the exclusions that they had in their bylaws due to race ran counter with their 4-way test that we live by today. In 1922, Rotary International changed the bylaws to include all races. Clubs across America eventually invited men of color to join their ranks. This was a slow process as it worked across areas of the country. The Rotary Club of Thomasville initiated its first African-American member in 1976. Mr. W.C. MacGyver was inducted as only the second African-American Rotarian in the state of Georgia. In the late 1960s, there was a time of major social change in America and in Rotary. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights movement caused many to question or to be asked about the Rotary and its role in the world. Dr. King often asked the same questions as we do with our 4-way test. He asks us to look at the heart of the man and not the color of his skin. He asks us to see that everyone is created equal in the eyes of God. Dr. Martin Luther King. To you, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we have come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds, that we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. we have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering sum of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 was not an end, but a beginning. There are those who had hoped that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content, will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there's something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high planes of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, well, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highway and the hotels of the city. We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Now, I'm not unmindful that many of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Many of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Many of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You are the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to the ghettos and the slums of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. And I say to you today, my friends, So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racist, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day the valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and if America's to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightened Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. Not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
y'all go to church? Did y'all go to church?
Amen.
Thank you. Can we give Dr. Martin Luther King another round of applause? We was talking to WALB, and I said that Rotary is the leader in this town. We set the bar high.
Yes.
We demonstrate and we live what we say. We are a diverse group. We support each other. And Martin Luther King asked me last night, what happened during the 60s? I said, Miss Thomasville, we didn't have all of the ruckus that the other communities had during the civil rights movement. You see, I went away to do that in the 60s because I attended a historically black university and I understood the struggle. But I was raised here in Thomasville where my grandfather worked 57 years on a plantation. He chose to live in the city, but his labors was during that time. And even though there was a struggle here in our country, this community fared well because of the kindness and the caring. But there's yet work to be done. We live in a community where we have two school systems that are not really geared together. We live in a community wherein we appreciate each other on different days and different weeks, but on Sunday we're all segregated. We live in a community where we're trying to make a difference, and this is where we do it in Rotary. This is what we're about, to make that difference. So let's continue our struggle and our work in the Rotary Club. This really is my farewell statement. Kim will be here in a couple of months. And so I'm saying what I believe. I believe that the work that we've done here in Rotary as it relates to race relations makes a difference. We walk the walk and we talk the talk. Let's continue to be a club of excellence. Division Director, I'll give you the opportunity to have the last words.
President Andres, thank you so much for inviting me down here. That was a wonderful program, and I do enjoy seeing everyone here today. And I truly believe Rotary, as she says, we don't see color, we see leadership. And that's what this club has in it, and I really encourage everyone that is a leader in this community to be a part of this club and be a force in this community. So thanks again.
Thank you, sir.